This is Eat, Sleep, Invest, the marketing podcast for real estate investors to get more deals. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Eat, Sleep, and Invest. I'm your host, Bryan Driscoll, and I'm here with Sean Pan. What's going on, Sean?
What's up, Brian? Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man. Yeah, how things going? You're down in Texas now, you say, right?
That's right. So I was born and raised in the Bay Area, went to LA for college, went back to Bay Area to work, and recently moved to Dallas, Texas with my wife.
Nice. Dallas is booming.
Yeah, it's nice here. We really enjoy it.
Yeah. So for everyone listening, why don't you give a little bit of background on what you have going on and where you came from, all that kind of stuff. A little introduction.
Sure. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sean Pan. I'm a real estate investor and a social media content creator. My wife and I have around 33 units on our portfolio, and we have around 2.5 million total followers across our various platforms on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Now, your TikTok, I saw, you got over like 1 million followers right on there, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that's a pretty crazy story too. So just to briefly go into it, my wife has been doing this for a while. She actually blew up on TikTok before me. I tried a while ago, right? I tried my first phase. It was terrible. I did one TikTok every single day for 30 days straight, and I got a total of like 200 followers. But then a few months down the road, I realized, okay, I was doing it all wrong. Talked to some of my friends in the content creation space and started doing the right kind of content. And within 3 weeks, I hit 1 million followers. That's
solid. Because I noticed your content. I liked how you do it because it's like you're kind of talking to yourself almost.
Yeah. It's called a skit-style. So we're like talking to ourselves, making it like a skit. I mean, here's the thing about TikToks, right? You need to grab someone's attention really quickly. And a lot of people just like talk to the camera, like, I'm telling you what to do. And if you're on TikTok, you don't want to see that, right? I don't want my mom to tell me what to do. But if it's a skit, it's like, oh, I'm like a third person. I'm a fly on the wall, hearing a story, hearing a situation play out. But if I can get some good information from it, cool, I'll share this with my friends.
That's cool. Now, is that what you mean by you changed the content? Like, did you change to that style, or what kind of things did you notice to change?
Oh, definitely. I mean, all of it. So if you plan on doing one TikTok every single day, I think you're going to very quickly realize that you're going to run out of content to talk about. So then you're going to end up doing some random topic that just came out of the top of your mind. Whereas now we actually script everything like to the word. So we have an exact plan of what we're going to like talk about. And then of course the delivery is very important too. So before it was just me filming like on a couch somewhere. Now we have a better production. We actually have a plan of what kind of scenario wants to be played out and all that kind of stuff.
That's cool. So are you doing less posts but better quality is what you're saying? Or are you still doing a lot as well?
I try to target 3 a week. That's been my sweet spot. I found that if I try to do one a day or even sometimes twice a day, right? That's when we were first getting started, we try to do twice a day. It's just way too much. And then you burn out.
Yeah. How's the editing and like, how long does it actually take to put a post together like that? Cause you're cutting different things and doing different shots.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's a 1 minute video, but oftentimes it takes 2 to 3 hours to be complete. You know, you have to take some time to write the script. You have to film the video. You have to cut it so that it's like very tight. And you also have to add in the text so that, you know, a lot of people, they're on TikTok, but they might be at work or they're in the bathroom, right? They can't use the volume. So having the subtitles there keeps it more engaging so they read the whole thing. So that takes all the time.
Yeah, because I saw it. I'm like, yeah, this is I haven't seen content like that on TikTok yet. And I'm like, it caught my interest, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you seeing a lot of benefit? Like, are you getting deals from that too? Or is it just helping your credibility, or how's that work? How's that looking for you?
Yeah. So we've been offered deals, you know, we've been offered like help, right? Assistance from people who want to work with us. In terms of like the deals themselves, we are still actively the ones going out there to connect with people, connect with agents, connect with wholesalers, finding deals, even on like forums and bigger pockets. But what really does help is, like you said, the credibility part. So once we make a connection to an agent, once we make a connection to a wholesaler or a contractor, we can show them our social media profile, and now they take us more seriously versus just someone that came off the street. They say, wow, these guys have been around. They have a social presence. They have done investing for several years. They know what they're talking about. They take us more seriously and they start sending us more deals, and they kind of prioritize us over someone else.
Yeah, and you're right too, just because, especially with how the world works today, anyone looks at a social profile and sees numbers like those, they're like, okay, this isn't just a guy dipping his toe in the water.
Yeah.
Like, this is someone serious about their business. Yeah, and you do get priority, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, at some point too, I think they also think, if I work with this person, then I can use their name to leverage like their own business. Like, oh, I've worked with these people, so now other people can work with me too.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, that's cool. Hey, if anyone wants to check out your TikTok channel, where should they go?
Yeah, so all my profiles are the same. The handle is at Sean Loves Real Estate. So very simple. I talk about real estate investing, and my tagline is that I make real estate easy.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, everyone check that out, because I was even on there. I was watching one of your tips about renting your house to your business.
Yeah, yeah.
To get some IRS tips, Cool. Okay, so we got the social there. Now you buy and hold.
Yep.
And then you invest out of state too. Like, are you wholesaling and flipping too, or are you primarily trying to build your buy and hold portfolio?
Yeah, great question. So it's funny, like the whole reason why I started real estate investing in the first place was because I was working as an engineer full time. And that's cool, right? Working on these top, secret like tech projects for the government. That was cool. But the bad part was talking to my coworkers and hearing just how unsatisfied they were with their compensation, with their ability to, retire, luxuriously. Right? And they could barely even afford homes in the locations where they work. So I thought, if I stay 30 more years in this area, I'm going to end up just like them. And I don't want that future. So I started looking at different business ventures. But real estate was the one that seemed the most consistent and the easiest one, as long as the numbers worked out. So I got into buy and hold because I knew that I just need to buy more and more properties, get that cash flow, and then that can replace my full-time income. But along the way, I started going to different meetups and I started learning about wholesaling. I started learning about flipping. And so I actually did dip my toe into flipping houses for a good while. And I flipped 5 homes in a very expensive area, like the Bay Area. And it came with some mixed results, right? My first deal, I made $300,000. I thought I was a god, right? I thought I was a genius. My next few deals didn't do so well, right? I actually lost a lot of money on some of them. So I've had mixed results with the flipping world. And I think one of the major issues is that you're really only as good as your last project when it comes to flipping and wholesaling. And even if you had an amazing $1 million flip, then what? Whereas my rentals, they're consistently paying me money, whether or not I continue to work actively in the business. So I can just chill and I'll know that my properties that I own long-term will be consistently paying me rent, will be appreciating in value, and giving me these amazing tax benefits. So I've been enjoying the long-term side, but yeah, I have flipped in the past. I've actually worked as a hard money lender for 3 years too. So that was also interesting because I got to talk to so many flippers. But goes back to the point, during the hot times, my clients were making a lot of money. Right now, when the market is softening, a lot of them are now losing money. And that's like a scary situation to be in. So, yes, I've done both, but I prefer long-term investing.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. I do long-term as well. And I like it too, because I know most properties I'll buy them, I'm like, is this the right deal? Some of them are thin. And then 2 years later, you look back and you're a genius. Because the market, because you're holding them, the market goes up or whatever, the depreciation paid down, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I really like the buy and hold stuff. And on the market too, you're right, because a lot of people, when you're flipping, you have a lot of cash out.
Yep.
So depending on what that market does, like you might get your hand caught in a cookie jar.
Yeah, I mean that happened to me. I thought I was a genius, and I got multiple projects all at the same time. But the problem was I didn't vet my contracting team that well because I thought they could do everything, right? The contractor says, yeah, we could do that one. Yeah, we could do that one too. But then when it comes down to actual operations, they're spread too thin as well. And then they can't do all the projects in as fast as time as you need to. So you're working on the projects longer, they're over budget. And because of the delay, now you got caught in the cookie jar, like you said.
Right. Now, are you wholesaling deals too, or are you just straight up looking to buy right now?
Yeah, I've only wholesaled one deal in my past. Typically, I close on them myself, either to flip them or to hold on to them.
Gotcha. So for some people, how do you invest out of state, right?
Yes.
How do you do that? I talk to a lot of investors. Everyone's like, oh yeah, we do virtual. And then 3 months later, I talked and they're like, that didn't work out so well.
Got it.
How do you do that successfully?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about like long-term investing though is it's not super operations heavy. So I think like virtual wholesaling, you need to be active in the business. But when it comes to like out-of-state rental properties, you really just need to have some few like key players. And as long as they're good, then you're set for the whole operation. Those key players are going to be like your agent and your property management team. Your property management team is probably the most important one because they're going to be with you for years and years and years to come. And of course, like I was from the Bay Area, so there was no way I was going to invest in my local area. Even like a really bad property is worth $1 million. and it won't cash flow. So that's why we had to go out of state, right? Now that I live in Texas, I actually do invest in Texas. So I don't know if I'm considered out of state anymore. But, like we invest out of where we live. And really, it's just leveraging the teams. So make sure you have a really good property management team who can take care of your property, let you know when things are going wrong, make sure they have good reporting systems, and that they're honest, that they're actually going to do their job and not just steal your money.
Yeah, that's right. Now, do you have one property management company that deals with properties in different states, or do you have to find a different one for each area?
Yeah, it's basically one per city that we're in. So we have a different property manager for different cities, even if they're all in the same state. So right now we probably have 5 or 6 different property management teams. And then we do self-manage one property, but that one is like our midterm Airbnb. So, the home I used to live in the Bay Area, I didn't want to rent it out as a long-term rental. We're renting it out as a month-on-month basis. Okay. And it's like fully furnished. It rents for like double what you can normally rent for if you rent it for a year-long lease. So, but we do that one ourselves.
Yeah, you're right. Some of those cities too, it's like, yeah, you get $1 million property, but it'll only pull $5,000 a month rent. It doesn't make sense as a rental.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, when you're looking at, because you're right, property managers are so important if you're going to buy and hold. Do you have any tips of what you're looking for? Because normally, most investors will invest in their city, and they vet property managers once, and they kind of know by talking to people who's good. Do you have any tips for people how to find the property managers that are legit and are actually going to look out for your interest and not just let your house turn into garbage?
Yeah, I mean, we actually call a lot of property managers when we start vetting them. We also get a lot of referrals, primarily from the agents that we work with, because we believe that A players refer other A players. Over the years, we created like a list of questions that we like to ask property managers to kind of vet them out. The obvious ones are just asking them about how they do their business, right? Like, what is your screening process? What is your eviction process? What are you charging fees? Do you guys charge us when the property is still vacant? Do you all kinds of stuff? I just want to know what their deal is. And also like, what's their response like? So some people say, oh yeah, we'll call you back, and they never call you back. Then that's probably not someone I want to work with. So just stuff like that. And I think just from calling people, you'll realize that there's people that you really jive with, and there's some people you don't jive with, and work with the ones that you like. Yeah,
and I agree with that too. A couple things I've seen with property managers are a lot of the good property managers are pre-screening their investors as well. Oh, so just because they don't want to bring in slumlords because they get all the repair calls all the time. They don't want to bring people in with dilapidated property. So that was always a good sign I saw. If they're actually asking me like, is your property updated? Is it in decent condition? What kind of tenants are you looking for? Things like that. That always helped on our side.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay. So you got rentals. They don't take much time. What are you doing in the rest of your day?
I make a lot of content.
Yeah.
Well, I actually left my full-time job just a few weeks ago, and same with my wife too. So we're technically like fund employed right now. We basically make our living from our rental properties and from our social media businesses. So, we work on social media content. We do have to speak with our managers because we do have so many different properties in different places. And we spend a lot of time watching TV and playing video games. We're living the life.
That's how to do it, right?
I mean, what's the point, right? I was thinking about it too. It's like, what's the point of working 60, 80 hours a week, making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But again, you're working so much that you don't get time to actually enjoy it. So we have the financial freedom. We have the passive income coming through. Let's enjoy it. So like just this past Monday, it's a working day. I went fishing with my friend. It was great. I held no guilt.
Yeah, because especially in today's world too, everyone's like hustle, work, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And we're all guilty of it. I've done that, Yeah. I still do it sometimes. But the nice thing with real estate is you have the choice. Like you can choose to go out there and work all the time, or you can choose to go buy rental properties, things like that, and ideally you want the passive income. That's the goal for everybody.
But also being smart enough to know when enough is enough and to really like appreciate the fact that you do have passive income coming in. Because there are some people that, I have 10,000, I have 20,000 a month. That's not enough. I need 50,000, I need 100,000. And they keep hustling, keep grinding. But you don't really need that much to have a good life, right?
That's true. Yeah, and you're right too, because it's good to set goals because you're right, that number will keep increasing, especially some people keep increasing their expenses when they make more money.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let me go buy a Mercedes now. If you can keep your expenses low and keep that passive up there, you're kind of set,
Yeah. Actually, like for our like current situation, my one Airbnb that I have in the Bay Area pays for both of these mortgages. So our cost of living expenses has been zero for a long time already. Everything that we're doing now is just like cherry on the top. So
That's solid. Yeah, and then if you keep accumulating different assets too, because they're going to cash flow, but like in 20 years, they're going to cash flow even more because they're going to be paid off.
that's right.
What kind of debt are you taking on them? Are you taking like 20-year loans or?
Yeah, so we have maybe 8 of our properties under the conventional 30-year fixed loans. And then later on, we started buying properties with a commercial loan with a local bank. So they only will invest or lend to properties in their local area. So it's really city by city. So it's unfortunate, like this company will only lend to properties in Georgia, but they will not lend to properties in Texas. So I can't use them for all my deals. And for them, they were giving us loans with 15% down, but it was a 20-year loan. Normally they do 5-year loans with a 20-year amortization period, meaning like the payoff schedule is in 20 years and you have to refinance every 5 years. But I said, I don't want to be caught. So give me a 20-year loan, but make it a 5-year adjustable plan. So every 5 years, they will adjust the rate. And we closed on all of our deals when rates were still in the 4s. So now that rates are in the 7s and 8s, it's like, well, I have 4 more years until rates spike up, and then we'll see what we want to do then.
That's right. Yeah, I have the same types of loans too. Yeah, and a lot can happen in 4 years. It could go up, could go down. It's like, and you know what? The market's going to adjust anyways.
I mean, a lot can happen in 1 year, right? Like this year, rates went from 3% to 7%.
Right. I look back too, like back in the 80s, it was like 18% interest and people were still buying houses. And it's just, you got to have that year window for the market to equalize if interests go up because the property values have to adjust as well.
Yeah. And then also, I think, we're very fortunate that we do have the reserves. So in the worst case scenario, if rates are just too ridiculous in 5 years, we'll just probably pay them off ourselves.
Yeah. And that's a good point too, because a lot of people are paycheck that they're running into this game. They don't have you want to have those reserves because that's how you can be free because life is going to smack you in the face someday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I know a lot of clients and they are running on fumes. Like they can maybe survive for another 2 or 3 more months. They're expecting the flip, right, to be their big payday to pay off everything. But you never know, right? Project can take longer. They might sell in the market for a long time and then you can be in a very bad position.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing here in Pittsburgh. Houses are sitting on the market longer. So if you have a flip, your money's tied up. If you're relying on that income, you got problems. And then that creates stress.
That's right.
Yeah, no one wants that kind of stress. So what kind of tips do you have for, say, new investors trying to get into the space?
Yeah, so if you're brand new, there's a ton of great content out there. That's really how I got started, listening to podcasts, reading books, and even going to meetup groups. Because with meetups, it's unique in that you can talk to someone one-on-one and really get your personal questions answered. Whereas in the book, it's just kind of like, okay, what does the author think the general population needs to learn? So, I mean, I definitely learned a lot from going to meetup groups, talking to people one-on-one, starting my own podcast. So I had my own podcast and got a lot of great information from the guests that came on. My wife and I also create a free masterclass for anyone that wants to learn how to buy their first out-of-state rental property. So you can all just find that through the link in my bio through Instagram or TikTok. But yeah, that's really the best way. Like just get started by learning a lot. And we took about a year before buying our first property. So there's no shame in taking your time to learn before you get started because buying real estate is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and you know what? You're right too, because it may take time. Because that first deal, you want to make sure not to lose your shirt. You want to buy buy right.
Yeah, because otherwise then you'll have a bad taste in your mouth and you'll never buy ever again.
Right. Do you run meetup groups too?
I used to. Yeah, I used to host a meetup group in the Bay Area and I used to host an online group. But, I found, through my recent success with social media that it's much easier to create one of those and have it be seen by millions of people versus host a meetup group every single week live.
That's cool, man. Hey, well, anything else we wanted to talk about? We're running out of time. Anything else we wanted to bring up?
No, I mean, we covered a lot of it, right? Like for a lot of people who are just listening to this for the first time, social media is an amazing way to get your name out there and to be taken seriously by other agents or wholesalers or contractors. So if you are trying to get into the game, having a social media profile is important. It's an easy way for people to get to know, like, and trust you. And then when it comes to real estate, having the right team members is incredibly important. So go out there and network, whether it be through just making a lot of phone calls or from actually going out and meeting people face-to-face through a meetup. And, same with learning. If you're just getting started, you want to learn, there's a lot of great content out there. You can check out my content on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can also read books and podcasts. And we do have that free masterclass if anyone wants to take that too.
Hey, let me ask you this too. So people wanting to get it, a lot of people are intimidated by getting into social videos, things like that. And then a lot of people overthink it too. They're like, oh, I have to do a really fancy production, things like that. Like, what are you doing? Because you're doing it yourself, right? Like, you don't have a production studio or anything, or do you?
Not like a studio. I mean, this is my house, right? I'm in a room in my house. And I do hire an editor, but really it's just a matter of putting these little clips together because I don't want to do it myself. Like, you can easily do it yourself. I mean, I think the biggest thing that holds people back is the fear of like someone they know will see it and then laugh at them. Or they're scared of like a coworker seeing their stuff and then ratting them out to their boss and then getting in trouble for that. I found that it's happened only one time. Like, I've heard of one person getting fired because of the social media content. I don't really know why that happened, but they got caught and they got fired. But everyone else, like, their bosses are usually very cool. Like, my bosses, they found out, they're like, oh, Sean, you have a side hustle? Amazing. Like, that's so cool you have this on the side. Just don't do it during work hours. And then when it comes to like being embarrassed by friends or family, like, you know, people in general are so busy caring about themselves that they don't have enough time to care about you. So don't worry about that, right? And if you post something that embarrasses you, you know, there's so much content out there that people will quickly forget what you did within just a few weeks. So again, don't worry about it. People don't care about you as much as you think you do.
So true. And in the beginning, no one's watching anyways. So
yeah. In the beginning, well, my mom was the only one giving me likes, right?
right. Yeah. So that's why I see a lot of people too. They're like, I don't know how to do it. It's like, well, just do it, because no one's really watching it in the beginning. So that'll give you some time to practice. And eventually people will start watching. But the first couple, they're not. You're just putting it out there.
Yeah. In the beginning, especially, like your content is probably going to be garbage, right? There's no way around it. Like, your content is going to be bad, but you just have to do it. Like, I forgot what book this was, but there's a study of like, what was it? Photographers or clay makers, and they're given an assignment from their teacher. And half of the group said was graded based on like one perfect photo, right? Like, you have one submission, send it, and we'll grade you based on that. And the other group was graded based on how many photos they took, right? So one was a quantity, one was a quality. And it turned out the group that was graded based on how many pictures they took had much better photos than the one that only took one shot. So it's all about practice and repetition, getting good at your craft. And then once you're good at your craft, then focus on the quality.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Yeah, because you would think the one that put in the best quality, but yeah, they're probably in their head. And
yeah, like, they don't know how to like mess with the settings or anything. They don't know how to do everything. They're not like used to it.
Right.
So they take that one shot. They think it's their best work. Whereas the other person, they've been like messing around with all the different settings. They know exactly what to do, and then they can take better shots.
Right. Yeah. So, hey, everyone listen, go check out Sean's social. He's got some interesting content there. Yeah. Dive in, start doing some of your own kind of stuff. It's Sean Loves Real Estate. And then Sean, what's your website?
You can check us out at goodsweethomes.com. Like goodsweethomes.com. Yeah.
Excellent. Hey, well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Bryan, thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, thanks, man. Everyone listening, thanks for listening. Go out there, crush it, and close some deals.